Hello, hello. Welcome back to Rank Talks Bowl for yet another watch along. I know that it's been a while since I've actually done a watch along for a game, and yeah, because of all the silence from my end, just a lot of time not really being present, not really uploading. I've been really busy with college as we approach the end of the year. But I felt like for such a big occasion like this Champions League fixture between Liverpool and Real Madrid once again, just like last season at Anfield, that time around, Liverpool able to come out victorious and go into a crazy unbeaten streak that would eventually land us in first place in the league phase. Now it seems like a very, very different reality. Real Madrid coming into this in amazing form, not only in the Champions League, where they are currently perfect, wins against Juventus, Kairat Almaty, and Marseille, but also because they just won El Clásico, they come off a huge win against Valencia, and I think that Real Madrid is just looking amazing. Well, Liverpool, we started off with those 5 wins in the league. That after that, we thought that maybe we're pushing for a second Premier League title, and it seems like it won't be that easy once again. The performances in those first 5 games had been really, really shaky. We only got those results because of some late goals that we were managing to scrap into the later stages of the game, and eventually our luck ran out, and the results began to be more similar to what the performances on the pitch actually looked like. We suffered losses against Brentford, against Manchester United. We were eliminated by Crystal Palace in the Carabao Cup. At least last weekend we were finally able to get a win against Aston Villa, so that kind of has calmed the waters a little bit and has put us in a good position once again, trying to catch Arsenal for the Premier League title, which I still think that will be fought until the very end. For now, we have to focus on the Champions League because I think that a win here is pretty much mandatory to finish in the top 8. I mean, maybe not mandatory, maybe a draw is still doable, but like if you lose this game, I think that finishing in the top 8 of the Champions League is very, very difficult. This Champions League format is just so competitive that if you drop points in like 2 or 3 games, you are basically out of the race for top 8. So I believe that we have to win here if we want to have a realistic chance of making top 8. Still, getting a result like a draw wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, especially considering the form of both teams. And yeah, after that, if you have to fight through the extra round of 32, the extra playoffs could be uncomfortable because of the schedule, but it is what it is. The main objective is obviously to make it into the next round no matter what, but I would love to be in the top 8 once again and having to skip that round, and for that a win here is crucial. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Shout out to Seb, shout out to Patrick, and to Adam. Thank you so much for joining. Arsenal have to win now in St. Bottlejob. If not, well, they've come second. What is it? 3 or 4 times in a row now. So like, I think that it's bound to happen for Arsenal at some point. It's looking like this is basically their season. They finally signed a striker in Gyökeres, and yeah, the team is functioning just as well as it is before, but we know that Arsenal is very capable of dropping points at any moment, so I wouldn't be surprised that if Liverpool pick themselves back up, we can be in the conversation once again, but it's going to come down to the performances of many players, and for that, I would like to see what the lineups look like. Let me share my screen for that. So this doesn't even share the screen or my webcam, so I'm gonna have to do that whole thing. Hold up. Camera, there we go. So here we have the lineups. On the side of Liverpool, obviously we're still dealing with the injury of Alisson, so Mamardashvili is gonna be the goalkeeper. Back 4 with Andy Robertson, Virgil van Dijk, Ibrahima Konate, and Conor Bradley. Midfield with the double pivot of Ryan Gravenberch and Alexis McAllister. Soboslai in number 10, and Florian Wirtz on the wing. So no Gakpo. Gakpo is on the bench. And Wirtz gets another chance to start. Obviously, we know that there's been a lot of talk about Wirtz because he was such an expensive transfer at the start of the window. There were a lot of expectations because of how well he had done with Bayer Leverkusen and the German national team, and not being able to perform to any of the standards that were set up for him and his price tag so far. And I believe that starting in a different position, because usually under Slot he was playing in the number 10 role, now Soboslai is taking over that role and Wirtz has the freedom to move to the wing. I think he is pretty much called to do something in this game, attacking from the left, trying to provide for Ekitike, who's going to be starting at striker instead of Isak, and Salah obviously on the right. So a lot of expectations are especially on Wirtz, and yeah, just see how we're going to handle defensively, because I think that defensively is where we've been the most shaky. We see that Robertson is starting ahead of Kerkez because Kerkez has looked really shaky at the back, and maybe the experience of Robertson is valued more in that position, but we know that Robertson is not the player that he used to be, so there are a lot of question marks there. And Bradley, you know, he's been pretty good, but maybe for this type of game he probably has to show up. I say that, and in the last time we played Real Madrid, he absolutely pocketed Mbappe, but we have to see if he can even repeat that again, because Mbappe is looking much more comfortable and much more clinical this season for Real Madrid. Speaking of Real Madrid, Courtois is going to be the goalkeeper, obviously. Federico Valverde starting at right back and also being the captain. I wonder how Trent Alexander-Arnold is feeling. Obviously, it's another return to Anfield for him, and he was not well received once again, but you know, he went to Real Madrid hoping to have basically a secure spot, or at least be contesting for that position with Carvajal, and instead, when given the opportunity, Xabi Alonso prefers to start Valverde at right back over Alexander-Arnold. So you have to wonder what is going through his head as he is sitting on the bench at Anfield once again, but now playing for the opposition. The centre-back partnership is going to be Militao with Dean Huysen and Carreras at the left-back position, ahead of someone like Fran Garcia or Ferland Mendy, for example. The double pivot with Eduardo Camavinga and Aurelien Chouameni. Arda Güler on the right, Vinicius Jr. on the left. And I don't know if it's going to be like this with Bellingham as a second striker. I imagine that Bellingham is going to be dropping deeper and allowing Güler and Vinicius space to run into the wings, and maybe Bellingham shifting into a number 10 role at times. Maybe the formation looks like this at times, especially off the ball. I think that Real Madrid is potentially going to look like a 4-4-2, but attacking wise, I think that the wings are going to go forward. Carreras is going to go forward. Maybe it goes into a back three and Valverde moves into midfield when Real Madrid are in possession. But yeah, I think that Xabi Alonso has basically set up with a formation that is very flexible, while Liverpool are just doing the thing that they've been doing for forever. Ever since Arne Slot is in, it's always been the 4-2-3-1, and it doesn't seem like it's going to change anytime soon. So we're going to have to see if the performance can be a bit better once again. I want to see more of McAllister. McAllister has been pretty quiet this season at least. And yeah, he's been getting subbed off like around the 60 or 70 minute mark, which I really don't understand. I think that we need to play more down the middle. We've been trying to play too much through the wings, and it's not personally my style, especially with Salah and whoever's the other winger not really being as prolific as they were last season. So a lot of question marks on Liverpool. Not so many question marks on Real Madrid's end, but maybe the formation is something that was a bit unexpected, and we'll have to see how it works for them and how it works for us. I think that's going to be the most important. My camera froze again. So there we go. So let me catch up with the chat. Yeah, no, obviously I think that Real Madrid beating Barcelona in El Clásico, and I think that they deserved it as well. If anything, Real Madrid could have scored more goals in that game against Barcelona. Carreras looked amazing defensively. The rest of the team performed to the expectations. Vinicius, Mbappe, everyone was performing, and yeah, it was a statement win on the side of Real Madrid. They've been on amazing form, and I just think that it's gonna be really hard to beat them. But we've done it before, so we all always keep that optimism until we cannot anymore. Um, Thoughts on Brazilian clubs equalizing Argentinian clubs in the Copa Libertadores? I know it's been confirmed that Flamengo versus Palmeiras is the final. Yeah. Obviously, I've been doing the Copa Libertadores recaps every time that there's been a match day. You can check all of those out in my playlist and also in like my most recent videos. And yeah, I mean the Brazilian dominance is gonna continue in the Copa Libertadores, and like you mentioned, it's now gonna be 25-25 the trophy count between Argentinian and Brazilian clubs in the Copa Libertadores. And it's crazy to think about that the last 7 Copa Libertadores are won by Brazilian clubs. And in multiple of those occasions, it was a Brazilian team taking on another Brazilian team on the final, which only shows their dominance. In this case, Flamengo barely edged past Racing in the semifinals, while Palmeiras had to make a comeback from 3-0 down against Liga de Quito in the second leg. So it's not like they absolutely dominated from start to finish and they were heads and shoulders above everyone else, but it's clear that they still have the dominance to be at that level consistently, and that's something that you cannot take away from them. And I mean, it's natural. We've been talking about it for a long time that the level of the Argentinian league is not the same as it used to be. The format is not competitive. Most of the teams are not competitive. The economy of the country and of the clubs doesn't really help in keeping players for long periods. We saw Franco Mastantuono, who's now sitting on the bench for Real Madrid, leaving River as soon as he turned 18. And, those big talents, as soon as they pop up into the league, they just go to Europe or somewhere else, and it's just not sustainable. It's hard to build on a project and to build on having good players when you're just outmatched economically. Like Flamengo's team is worth 3 times as Racing's team, for example. If you take that semi-final into consideration, and competing like that is very difficult. Racing still managed to compete, but it wasn't enough. So everything comes into play, like the competitiveness, the economy. Brazil is just ahead of everyone else in South America, and I don't think it's going to change anytime soon. It's going to have to take either a massive shift or an upset to take place in one of these tournaments for a Brazilian team to not win the Libertadores, it feels like at this point. The Liga de Quito one was especially disappointing because in the first leg they played fantastic in the altitude of Quito against Palmeiras. They got the 3-0 lead, and it felt like they kind of stopped trying to push for more. They were satisfied with the 3-0 and they started defending. And then when they had to go to Brazil, they couldn't deal with the pressure of Palmeiras just bashing into their goal and putting them against the ropes or whatever. And yeah, it was very, very tough to see them crumble like that and just concede 4 in that second leg. And yeah, now we're going to have yet another Brazilian final. Thank you for following from the US. It's good to have the international audience, which, I mean, it's the main reason why I have this channel. Remember that if you are ahead of my stream, don't spoil what happens in the game in chat. If you see something happen in the game, wait until you see my reaction to actually type about it in the chat, because if it ruins my reaction, it kind of ruins the whole reason of doing a watch along. So please, no spoilers in the chat about anything that happens in the game if you're ahead of me, which, I will start the clock once the match begins, which it seems like we are about to. Liverpool on the kickoff, and we are underway here at Anfield, the 4th match day of the Champions League phase, and it's Liverpool against Real Madrid. Super big occasion between two of the teams that have won this competition the most. So massive game, and a massive opportunity for the Liverpool signings to step up, especially Beards in this occasion. Leading question, but what do you think the main reason high altitude teams are tolerated if they tend to be bad? Can't imagine if being accepted if top Argentinian or Brazilian clubs had that advantage. Yeah, especially referring to Bolivia. Um, I believe it's tolerated because in the end, even though they gain that advantage and they are able to get good results at home, it's not like in the big scheme of things it amounts to anything. We saw 2 years ago Bolivar from Bolivia reached the quarterfinals of the Copa Libertadores, and it was the first time they had reached the quarterfinals in like 30 years or something. And it was a big shock. They took down a Brazilian team in the round of 16 and whatever. But in the grand scheme of things, since they didn't win the trophy, it's like, oh, it doesn't matter, right? Uh, so I believe that they kind of get away with it because, like you said, they are not really that good. So when the playing field is even, they just don't have enough. They just lose, and everyone moves on with their lives. But obviously, yeah, I think that something that other countries in South America complain about is that there are too many Argentinian and Brazilian clubs in the Copa Libertadores and in the Copa Sudamericana as well, because both countries get 7 slots in total for the competition at least. And when you factor in that Brazilian teams tend to win the competition and the champion gets another spot, that makes it so there are 8 Brazilian clubs and 7 Argentinians. Or is it 7? No, it's 7. It's 6 spots for each country, and then the Brazilians, whenever they win it, they have a 7th team representing. So it's 7 Brazilians and 6 Argentinians, most Copa Libertadores. And teams from other confederations complain that that's too many because the other countries get 3, at most 2, and they feel like that's unfair. But the reality is that the best team from Venezuela is not beating the worst team in Argentina or the worst team in Brazil. So even if you had more teams from Venezuela or more teams from Paraguay or more teams from Chile, it wouldn't make a difference because you would still lose to the Argentinian and Brazilian clubs. If the best team in Chile is losing to the 5th best team in Brazil, then it's not a problem about the amount of teams in the competition. It's a problem about your league is just bad, right? So I think that also plays into the altitude not being taken as seriously as I think it should be, because it's clearly unhealthy for players that are already super stressed about having to play so many matches throughout the year. They're already overworked, and then they have to play in basically inhumane conditions. So I don't know. I feel like they should really tackle the altitude problem more heavily at CONMEBOL because it's not sustainable. I don't know what the solution is, but they need to figure it out. For now, it seems like they don't care because, like I said, in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't change anything. It's not like those teams win a trophy ever. Nice, and I'm glad to hear that you've been doing more watch-alongs as well. Yeah, Flamengo and Palmeiras is basically heating up to be a rivalry because they've been the most consistent and the best teams in Brazil for a while, both domestically and in the Libertadores. They faced up in the final in 2021. Palmeiras won that one. And yeah, now whoever wins this final will be the first Brazilian team to win 4 Copa Libertadores. There are a lot of clubs, like it's Palmeiras, Flamengo, Sao Paulo, Santos, Gremio, and I may be missing someone else, who are all tied on 3 Copa Libertadores, which is crazy to think about. There are that many clubs tied for that record. And whoever wins out of Flamengo and Palmeiras will win their 4th Copa Libertadores, the most in Brazil, and they will tie both River Plate and Estudiantes in Libertadores wins. So it's definitely heating up to be a rivalry. And now they're fighting for the Brasileirao title as well. Yeah, no, spoilers for other matches are okay. So Bayern are leading 1-0, goal from Lucho Diaz, the former Liverpool winger. Glad to see Lucho still doing well. And yeah, I mean, that is basically the biggest game of this and the Bayern PSG game are like the biggest games of the week. And they're being played at the same time, which I honestly don't understand. But yeah, I mean, Bayern taking the lead against the defending champions. Should Liga MX return to Copa Libertadores and maybe bring some MLS reinforcements as well? So competitively, it makes sense because we've seen, for example, at the Club World Cup, that the Mexican teams and the MLS teams could be competitive against the Brazilian and the Argentinian teams. I don't think that there's like that big of a difference, if any, between the Liga MX team and the Argentinian clubs, for example. I do still think that the Brazilian teams would be the best, but MLS and Liga MX team would definitely be competitive in the Copa Libertadores. I don't doubt that. The problem is the logistics because they are basically a whole continent away. It's already crazy for an Argentinian team having to travel to Colombia or Venezuela, for example, and travel like 8,000 kilometers or whatever. Imagine if you have to travel all the way to Mexico City, or I don't know, the other way around, like having to travel from Mexico City to Buenos Aires or whatever. It's been done before because Liga MX teams were in the Copa Libertadores, but logistically it just wasn't sustainable whatsoever. So I think that unless there's a major shift in the relationship between CONCACAF and CONMEBOL, which is currently broken, and unless there's a real interest from the Mexican teams to participate in the Copa Libertadores, I don't think it's going to happen. And I don't think it makes sense logistically. Competitively, absolutely, because they have good teams, but and they have obviously a lot of economic influx, and they have a lot of fans that would follow the competition, and that would bring more profitable TV rights or whatever. But logistically, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Colombia's squad average on paper. I would have to think about that because I think that Colombia's team is actually pretty solid. But if you look at the names and the clubs they play for, most of them are in Europe by now. But I could see how you would consider them average, but like they have a lot of really good players, and it's just about the cohesion and how they manage the pressure for Colombia, at least going into the next World Cup. Good, not great. Yeah, that's fair enough. I don't think you would expect um, Colombia can beat a European powerhouse on their day. We've seen it. I don't think you would predict Colombia to beat someone like Spain or France or England on a regular basis. Not at all. Not at all. I don't think they would be favorites in a matchup like that. Um, and I believe they will be competitive, and it's more like how they can handle the pressure. That's the main thing. The mentality of the Colombian player tends to be where they falter the most. It was better in 2018. Was it though? You could say you had a better James back then. James nowadays still great on the ball, but the legs are not there anymore. Yeah, they are not there anymore. Um, but now you have a difference maker in Luis Diaz. You don't have a Falcao anymore, but Luis Suarez, the Colombian one, obviously, has shown to be a prolific striker, especially in that matchup against Venezuela in the last match day. Um, there are some players you can rely upon. Munoz, I believe it's a great player. Richard Rios, on and off, but I was a big believer in Richard Rios. Now I'm a bit more skeptical, but he's someone you can rely on in the midfield, same as Jefferson Lerma, whenever he's fit. Soboslai inside the box. Having a shot, no. The shot from McAllister goes over the crossbar. We had a chance that I didn't comment on, like almost starting the game. I was rambling about something else, like almost a minute in when I'm watching the replay. Yeah, okay, yeah. McAllister's shot was just pretty wide. He tried to curl it into the top corner. Nice attempt, but not good enough. But very good movement from Soboslai to appear down the right, linking up with Salah and then shifting inside the box to try and put in that pass. Unlucky, but yeah, Liverpool have been pretty good on the ball so far, and I think that apart from that chance that we just created, we were troubling Real Madrid's backline a little bit. We were putting some fear into them. Now, apart from fear, we have to put goals. Ekitike not able to win on that duel against Carreras, and Real Madrid are going to recycle this ball. Yeah, so like I mentioned before the start of the game, it seems like Bellingham is dropping deep in position to try and recover the ball and generate play, and basically performs a touch and go with the wingers, this time with Vini. Push the ball to the wing and then run forward, try to create a numerical advantage with Mbappe. Okay, ball for Ekitike, but now who appears down the middle? It seems like Wirtz, Soboslai. Ekitike cuts inside. Soboslai, McAllister. Okay, we're gonna need to be faster in our passing sequences if we want to actually trouble these guys. 1-0 to Sporting. I forgot who Sporting playing against. It's very easy to check. Oh, against Juventus, away to Juventus as well. Okay, then. Juventus who have recently appointed Spalletti as their manager. Because with Tudor it simply wasn't working. Salah not being able to beat Carreras. Is Carreras going to have yet another masterclass in defense against a world-class winger? Okay, Salah this time beating his man. Great run by Salah, but doesn't find the final pass, and Real Madrid recover the ball, and here they come in the counter-attack. Virgil van Dijk has that one under control. That's the thing, Authame. Thank you so much for joining, by the way. Is top 4 good enough for this Liverpool team? Because I think that after winning the Premier League with Arne Slot in his first season, and then with all of the signings we made, the expectation was to go back-to-back. And I believe that it still is to win the Premier League once again. And if you don't win the Premier League, you gotta win the Champions League. You gotta win something. You're not in the Carabao Cup anymore. You don't have that distraction. I believe that this squad has to deliver in silverware, or else it's a failure. Not even a disappointment. Like, I think finishing in the top 4, not a failure, but definitely a disappointment for this squad. I think it would be a disappointment. I don't think there's any other way to put it. Obviously, top 4 is still a massive goal because you have to be in the Champions League every season if you're Liverpool. But with the signings we made, I think that expecting anything but a trophy, I don't know. I don't like being that. Is conformist a word? I don't know. I'm mixing Spanish and English in my head. My brain stopped functioning. Yeah. Champions League or Premier League. One of the two, or it's a failure. One of the two, and it's a good season. Both, and it's an amazing season, obviously. Incredible. But yeah, that's the bar that we set for ourselves with how we performed last season, and you add on top all of the signings for this season. But it hasn't been working out. I want to be more patient with Isak, for example, because it clearly looks that after being put in the fridge by Newcastle, he's clearly out of form, and adapting to a new club and a new environment is not easy. I want to be more patient with Isak despite his price tag. With Wirtz, he was there for the preseason, so I think that he has less excuses than Isak. Um, we need to start to see them perform. Frimpong, I think it was just not the right profile if you were gonna play like this. If you were gonna still play with a back four, it makes no sense to sign a wing back that was used to playing in a back three formation. Frimpong was clearly getting exposed defensively because he was used to playing with three center backs behind him. And yeah, it wasn't working out. And so far, Frimpong is just someone you bring off the bench to put in crosses when you need to get a result at the end of the game, which is really disappointing. Okay, let's see if we can make something out of this counter attack. Ekitike now. Ekitike with the shot, gets blocked. McAllister is unable to recover the ball. Vini against Bradley. Mbappe's shot is really wide. That's going to be a goal kick for Mamarashvili. No, my opinion on Isak was like that even before watching your video, which, by the way, people, if you don't know who Sebol is and what kind of videos he makes, you should check out his channel. And he recently made a video about the Swedish national team. And no, my opinion was not influenced by your video. I'm just glad that we kind of have the same opinion. Obviously, I think that because you're Swedish, you would have that kind of apologetic attitude with Isak, but I want to be patient with him because I understand that it's not easy and that you're not immediately going to get results with someone who was not there for the preseason and who was in a contractual war with his country, with his club. It just makes sense. Eventually he's going to have to deliver with goals. Like, eventually that excuse is going to go out the window, but for now, we're going to have that patience. Hello, Albert. Thank you so much for joining. Albert, you're going to have to do something with your goat because he keeps changing his speech each time he has a new interview. Each time he has an interview, he seems to change his mind about what his actual goals are in football. He went from being the guy who wanted to win the most Ballon d'Ors to the one who wanted to win the most Golden Boots to the one who wanted to win the most international trophies to being the one who wanted to win the World Cup to being the one who just wants to reach 1,000 goals because the World Cup is a 7 or an 8 game tournament or whatever. You need to get your goat as a psychiatrist, man. He's not coping well. Liverpool against Real Madrid has sort of become a classic because of the consecutive not consecutive, but the Champions League finals and the basically every year that we're both in this competition, it seems like we play each other. The problem is that the head-to-head is so Real Madrid favored and that it barely feels like a classic matchup, but we beat them last time around. It's sort of starting to feel like a classic, especially when you consider Real Madrid with 15 Champions Leagues, Liverpool with 6, two of the most decorated teams in the competition. It sort of has to be a classic. But I don't know. How will Arnold do in the offense? Well, it seems like we're trying to play possession based. Obviously, it's difficult against a team like Real Madrid, who also likes to be on the ball. As we're seeing right now with Vini going up against Bradley. Bradley winning out on the duel. No, that's a bad pass from Bradley. Again, the camera pans to Alexander Arnold, and I wonder what's going through his head being here at Anfield and seeing Valverde starting at right back ahead of him. That was an unnecessary foul by Van Dijk on Mbappe. So we're going to have to see what Real Madrid can make out of this free kick. You know that Hausen is tall as a house. The crossing from Arda Güler is very, very long. So that's going to be a goal kick for Liverpool. Thoughts on the opinion of Trent Alexander-Arnold labeled as a rat by the Liverpool fans? I personally don't agree with it, as we're going to see the first yellow card of the game for Vinicius. Vinicius having a tough time tracking back and fouls Bradley as he was trying to enter the box. That's possible. You would possibly. I mean, it's likely you would expect this situation to be the other way around, but instead it's Vini fouling Bradley and receiving a yellow card for it. So I don't agree with Trent being labeled a rat. I think that what made his situation bad was that those rumors to go to Real Madrid were there for a long time. And it's clear that he was thinking about that move for a long, long time, and his head was not 100% in Liverpool, and I think that's what disappointed most fans, myself included. But in modern football, I don't think you can be mad at someone for moving to a bigger club or like moving elsewhere to get more money or whatever, seeking personal glory. I think that getting mad at those stuff in modern football is just like, I don't know. Seems like a bit childish to me. Obviously, I think that because Trent was someone who was formed at the club, I hope it's important that he doesn't forget his roots, because basically Liverpool gave him everything and turned him into the player he is today. Hello, Mats. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for joining. So PSG's equalizer was offside. Yeah, but violating contracts, that's a different story. At that point, you are breaking basic trust as a human being. The thing is that Trent didn't violate his contract. He let his contract run out, and that essentially meant that he left on a free. And after everything that Liverpool has done for him, they didn't see a single penny for his transfer. And that obviously isn't very good. So I don't blame the Liverpool fans for feeling the way they feel. I just don't. That's just not my way of going about it. Hendrik's talent seems to be being wasted at Real Madrid. I think that a loan move is almost mandatory for him. I was referring to two other players from a certain nation. No, okay, shot from Chamini goes wide. No, I don't think Trent did much wrong, like I said, because he was formed at the club, not leaving a single penny to the club that formed you as a player feels a bit bad, and also the fact that it feels like this move was on his mind for a long, long time means that his head was not in Liverpool 100% or whatever. But besides that, ooh, Beards down the middle. Ekitike, no, what a save by Courtois. Are you serious? Are you serious? What a save. Oh, that would have been a Beards assist as well. Man. Incredible from Courtois. So, Hausen makes a bad tackle trying to deflect the ball, and that allows Wirtz to run into space. It wasn't Ekitike, it was Soboslai running into the box like a mad lad. And Courtois just, in pure desperation, comes off his line and stretches as much as he can. The ball bounces off his leg and goes away. Similar to what happened in a recent World Cup final. Incredible from Courtois. Size and wingspan merchant. Yeah, I agree with that, Matt, as well. The board from Liverpool has made many, 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 many bad mistakes when it comes to the transfer window, both buying and selling. I think that what most Liverpool fans complained about was the lack of action in the transfer window. This transfer window, we moved and we moved big, and I won't put blame on the board if Isak or Beards flop, right? Because I think that before those signings, everyone wanted those players. So like if they flop, it's not really on the board. The board just bought the players that they wanted. Oh, pen! No, it's not a pen. It's outside the box. It's a free kick for Liverpool. The ref is saying that that's outside the box, and I'm inclined to agree with the ref without seeing the replay. Is that even a handball? Okay, that looks like a handball. Okay, so many things to talk about here. First, can that be considered a handball? Because to me it seems like Tchouaméni is really trying to hide his hand under his body, and it's in a natural position when making a challenge like that. The ball does hit his hand, but in my opinion it's in a natural position. If the referee and VAR assume that that's not a natural position, I believe it was inside the box. Okay, let's take a look at this again. That definitely seems like it's inside the box. But again, it feels so harsh to give that as a penalty. It feels so harsh. Like, Tchouaméni is turning his body around and hiding his arm under his chest so that the ball doesn't hit his arm. It's in a very natural position when you're making a challenge like that. I don't feel like that should be a pen. It looks inside the box. I don't feel like that should be a pen. Have you ever considered supporting Liverpool in Uruguay? No. Whole different Liverpool. Hello, Eddie. Thank you so much for joining. Yeah, but feel free to update me on the PSG Bayern game. Yes, it is deemed differently if it's a shot on target. For example, if your arm were to be extended like this and it's a shot on target and the ball hits your arm, that's a penalty. But for example, if the ball is coming down from across and you're defending and your arm is here and the ball hits your arm, this is natural position. If you're blocking a shot, this is different because you're basically amplifying the volume of your body with your arm to block that shot. But if you're not blocking a shot and the ball just happens to bounce off your arm and it's like this is natural position. So yeah, it is a different judgment in the rule book if you're blocking a shot or not. But even then, even blocking a shot, I don't think this is a penalty. The bad part about this is that now, because there was a on-field review for a penalty, we had a free kick and now we have nothing because it's not even a handball. Ooh, Diaz scores again, 2-0 to Bayern. Damn. Yeah, no. It was natural position. Like, it shouldn't even be a question. And if the referee deemed that as a penalty, it's going against the rules, or you have to like rewrite the rule book and, you know, just every handball inside the box is a penalty, which I don't think would be healthy for the sport. Definitely not a pen. But you know, now people on Twitter are gonna share the screenshot of the ball hitting Tchouaméni's arm, and they're gonna be like, Madrid. And I do think that Real Madrid is probably the most disgusting club in the world, but behind River Plate. But that's never a penalty. Speaking of River Plate, next Sunday, Super Clásico Watchalong. Stay tuned for that because it's a big one. For the qualification to the next Copa Libertadores for both teams, both for Boca and for River, it's going to be absolutely massive. And we have to win a derby at home. It's mandatory. And who knows, even if Boca wins, Gallardo, River's manager, could be sacked. So a lot on the line for that Super Clásico on Sunday. So stay tuned for that watch along. Okay, Gravenberch pushing forward. Here's Bradley. Bradley with the cross. Cleared away by the defense. McAllister. Soboslai. Okay, Robertson is not really putting that cross anymore. Arsenal versus Bayern next match day to see who continues their perfect streak. It would be a big game. Now, what is Arda doing? Did you see that? He did a bicycle kick to try and clear the ball away from his own corner. Right, Salah. See what you can do, man. Cutting inside. That's a bad pass. Real Madrid have not seen the ball in what feels like 15 minutes now. But we need to actually capitalize on this opportunity. Ooh, good shot from Soboslai, but it's a routinary save for Courtois. Yeah. The change of the Super League in 2014 to expand the format to 30 teams pretty much killed the competitiveness of our league and led it to be the corrupt mess that it is nowadays under Tapia. Okay, good pass from Bradley, Ekitike. Ha. It's the final pass once again. Like in the final third, we're not being clinical enough. That's really frustrating. And so far, we've only forced Courtois into making 2 saves. I'm saying only. But with how much possession and with how much momentum and how much we've been approaching Real Madrid's box, it feels like we should have had more shots on target by now. But again, not clinical enough in the final third, and eventually you're gonna pay for it. You're gonna get punished against teams like this in this competition. Ooh, bad mistake from Robertson. No pens as the ref. Arda Güler fell inside the box, but the referee kindly asked him to get up. That was a bad time to lose the ball from Robertson. It would have been really sad if after how much we've been dominating, Real Madrid found an opportunity like that. Man, Carreras is just the best left back in the world or what? What is this? You can start a Q&A poll. This is a new one. I hadn't seen this button before in the streams. Right, Real Madrid trying to play out from the back. They have to, I don't know, try to get to our box because Mamardashvili has had no work to do so far tonight. I'm obviously happy to see that, but let's try to keep it that way as Vini is inside the box, tries to get past Bradley, and that's a clear dive from Vini, although he's pleading to the ref that Bradley elbowed him in the face. Come on, man. Come on, man. Not in a million years you can give that as a penalty. I know Bradley hit his face, but like if you give that penalty, the game's gone for sure. Alright, so now it feels like Madrid are growing into the game, but maybe we have a chance on the counter. Nope. It's really bad. Long ball. Ooh, okay, nice. Isn't it weird that referees in Europe still don't announce their decision to the whole stadium after an on-field review with VAR? At least here in the Champions League as well. Isn't that a bit weird? I felt like that was established everywhere at this point, or that it should be the norm. Okay, free kick for Liverpool, far away, but I imagine Robertson is going to try to play this one into the box. Yeah, just play backwards. Ooh, Soboslai. Soboslai with another shot and another fantastic save from Courtois. Another shot from Soboslai from a similar position with his right foot. And this time, it's not a routine save, but it's a fantastic save. Great stop, stretching his right hand and deflects the ball away. That's going to be a corner for Liverpool though, but once again, Courtois having a Courtois-like performance against Liverpool. Everyone in Liverpool pushing forward to try and see if we can get a goal from a set piece before the end of the half. Beards with the cross gets cleared away. What do you think of the new VAR rule implemented in the Under-20 World Cup? Managers have a maximum of 2 calls. I think it's the right way to go. I think that a lot of the controversies with VAR disappear if teams are allowed to ask for reviews. And yeah, just have it be like it is right now and like it is in tennis, for example, where you have 2 calls and if you get it wrong, you lose them. If you get them right, you get to use them again. But a lot of the VAR controversies come from not from changing calls, but from not checking calls, not having on-field reviews with the referee. Oh, Bellingham, and what a save from Amarashvili. First shot on target for Real Madrid. Bellingham coming inside and firing at the near post. Amarashvili was there to cover, and now another save from the shot from distance of Arda Güler. So Bellingham just walked past Konate right there, and Maurashvili with his leg being able to deny Bellingham. A lot of the controversies with VAR come from not having on-field reviews about potential key moments in the game that could have been changed. Those controversies. And so if the team is able to request them, it eliminates a lot of doubt and a lot of the lack of transparency that VAR has nowadays. So I'm all in for it. I think that it should be the way to go. Allow teams to ask for calls, not infinite, obviously, have a limit. One 0 to Monaco at Bodo. Yeah, I think that Bodo Glimt were considered favorites at home. Their home field advantage is essentially what took them to the league phase of the Champions League. But Monaco are a strong team. Ansu Fati was on fire in Ligue 1. I'm glad to see Fati revive his career, although this goal was scored by Follerin Balogun. As we see, another yellow card after a foul from Hausen on Ekitike. So Juventus equalized again against Sporting. Blajovic. Atletico, with goal by Julian Alvarez, is leading against Union Saint-Gilloise. Tottenham is ahead against Copenhagen. Olympiacos is ahead against PSV. And yeah, Bayern is still leading 2-0 against PSG. McAllister with the shot. Another save by Courtois. Are you kidding me? I swear, this guy is just in my nightmares every time. Like, every time you think it cannot get worse than the 2022 final, this guy just comes up with the clutches of saves as the ref blows his whistle for half time. I'm not gonna lie, I think that Liverpool has been the better team and we should be leading the game. You had that one-on-one from Szoboszlai where Courtois had to save with his leg. Another shot from Szoboszlai from distance. Now this shot from McAllister that forced another stretch. Overall, Liverpool have had most of the momentum. We've been closer to their box most times until that chance that Bellingham had near the end where Amarashvili had to make a save. They hadn't had a shot on target. I think that not by far, but Liverpool had definitely been the better team so far. It's just disappointing that we were not clinical in the final third to actually reflect it on the score, which is what matters. I hope that we win Olmo. I hope so, but we actually have to take our chances. So here's an example that involves a referee for Scotland Hungary, Steve Clark, requesting the penalty call, and the ref probably still doesn't give him the penalty after looking. Yeah, but at least he looked at it. There are times where teams appeal and there's controversy, but VAR for whatever reason doesn't call the referee for an on-field review on a situation that is maybe not as black or white as it may seem, and where the referee's criteria may change if they give the play a second look. But if you don't give them that opportunity, then you are left with the what could have been, and I think that's what VAR came to solve, basically. No, he probably doesn't speak English, I remember that, yeah. It was, yeah, Tesho, the Argentinian referee who was on that game. Yeah, I remember. You're mad. I'm mad? I don't know. Do I look mad? I'm not mad. I'm a bit sad that we're not winning the game after we've been the better team. But like, I think mad is something different. So interestingly enough, Real Madrid have had 60% possession over Liverpool's 40. Watching that game, it really felt like Liverpool was on the ball more than Real Madrid. And the big chances are 1-1. Obviously, Real Madrid's big chance being that one-on-one from Bellingham, and the one from Liverpool, that one-on-one from Soboslai. But I mean, the shots from Soboslai and McAllister from outside the box that force good saves out of Courtois deserve to be taken into consideration as well. Yeah, we're gonna need to see better in the final third for Liverpool. Let's see, has Twitter exploded yet? Okay, let's see. Tchouaméni. Is everyone saying something about the penalty? Okay, there's obviously people complaining, especially Barca fans, because yeah, I remember there was a similar handball from Tchouaméni in a Clásico before. No, but it clearly wasn't a penalty. Clearly no penalty. And I don't think that ever should be a penalty. Luis Diaz sent off. Wait, did he get a brace and then he got sent off? Hey, no way, man. Oh no. Bayern, you're not gonna throw this game away, are you? Now, what did he get sent off for? Are we being for real now? Okay, let me see. Where's the red card? Okay, I'm gonna have to take a look at the red card later for Lucho Diaz. But like, that's crazy that he scores a brace and gets sent off. Oh, here it is. I mean, why is he even making that challenge? I'm inclined to give him a red card just because of how stupid that challenge is, more than by the challenge itself on Hakimi. But no, that is dangerous. That is dangerous. That is a red card. Yeah, I mean, just for being stupid, I would give him a red card. But that is dangerous as well. Mike thinks that harsh on Diaz. The challenge looks horrible. What is this take from Mike? What? Think that's harsh on Diaz. The challenge looks horrible because of Hakimi's ankle twisting the way it did. No, that challenge is stupid. Bro, like, what is this? What is this challenge? Like, are you serious? Why are you making that challenge? No. No, that's definitely a red card. That's a red card. Seven minutes of added time for a crazy tackle. Yeah, no, it's a clear red. Alright, Mats. Looking forward to seeing the press conference. People are really saying that's not a red. No, that's crazy. How is that not a red? Nah, man. People just have... The thing is, speaking on the internet is free. The internet may not be free, but speaking on the internet certainly is free. Speaking on the internet is free, and anyone with access with it can say whatever they want. And most people don't know the rules of football. A lot of people like football without knowing the rules of football. Rare Michael. People are saying, bro, HH just started his space for halftime for PSG Bayern. Title, ref ruined the game. What do you mean ref ruined the game? Diaz ruined the game. I know Diaz scored a brace, but like, if he's getting sent off because of a clear red card, that's not on the ref, that's on the player. What do you mean? Hakimi had to be subbed out, man. He could have broken his ankle ahead of the AFCON. Nah, man. Yeah, no, it's excessive use of force. It's very clearly an excess from the side of Diaz. Because there's no reason to do that. You're throwing your whole body on the opponent's ankle. That's very clearly excessive use of force. The intention there was to murder the guy. It's so very clearly a red. I don't know. I don't understand. And the people saying that the Tchouaméni handball can be compared to the one from El Clásico? No, because in the one from El Clásico, he was blocking a shot like this. And in this one, he's blocking a shot like this. It's very different things. But people just love to complain, and people just don't know the rules of the game. It's fine. It's free, by the way. You can look up. in the IFAB, the rules of the game of football, for free, and take a look at them. You can read through the entire PDF. I recall a correct red card Rooney got when there wasn't even contact. Well, you have to look at other instances Beckham's red card in 1988, England against Argentina, round of 16 of the World Cup. Simeone basically taunting Beckham, and Beckham hits Simeone as he's passing by with his heel. There barely is contact there, but there's an intention to hit the other player without the ball. That's a red card, for being stupid. Not everything is about contact, but in this instance, like you mentioned, there even is contact. It is excessive use of force. It's in the loss of the game that you cannot do that. Yeah, I mean, it's not a Stonewall red, but you understand why he got sent off. And it wasn't because of the contact, it was because of his intention. Tommy, thank you very much. So probably an awkward timing, but after this second half begins with the players already walking out of the pitch, I probably need to get a coffee. College has had me like this. I've been surviving off caffeine. And I'm not really into energy drinks, so coffee it is. And yes, Sev, I will microwave my coffee again. Mbappe standing in the middle of the pitch, ready to kick us off. And we are underway here for the second half of Liverpool against Real Madrid here at Anfield. Still waiting for goals. We had a few opportunities, but it wasn't really like a back and forth game in the first half. I don't mind drinking coffee cold several hours after I made it. Several hours, letting your coffee sit there for hours already sits wrong with me. Already rubs me the wrong way. I usually don't let, unless it's water, like any drink or food, I don't let it sit anywhere for hours. Obviously, I know that there's a lot of people who enjoy iced coffee. I'm not one of them. Okay, Salah cuts inside, puts in a good cross. Ball goes wide. That's going to be a corner. Okay, yeah, that's fair enough. Yes. Mike responded in our group chat. Which one? The Twitter one? He isn't attempting to hurt Hakimi. Well, what the fuck is he trying to do then? No, I get it. He's trying to get the ball, but he's just an idiot. Oh! Courtois, can you stop being world class for 2 seconds? No, for real. It's starting to get annoying again. No, I was setting the stream again and I look up and I see Courtois making yet another brilliant save. Point blank header from Virgil van Dijk from the corner. Inside the small box. And with feline reflexes, Courtois deflects it over the crossbar. What is that save? Another corner now. So it's like with the cross. Another header. Another save. Are you serious? No, you're not serious. No, it's a fucking joke. It's stupid. It's stupid how good this guy is. It's ridiculous. You cannot be making saves like that all the time. Every time. And now we missed the target. Oh, Ekitike 2 headers in a row. The first one cleared away by Courtois, and now we missed the target. That was essentially 3 chances in a row from 3 different set pieces. 2 of them saved by Courtois, the other one. No, he can't keep getting away with it. I agree. That's crazy. It does feel like those goalkeepers you find in FIFA. I don't play all night FIFA, but I know people who play FIFA online and suddenly there's like this random goalkeeper. Like you're going up against Scott Parker and he turns into Prime Buffon just against in your FIFA game. But this time it's Courtois, so it's fair. But come on, you cannot save absolutely everything. It feels like the 2022 final all over again. All right, I'm gonna let this Liverpool possession run out. Okay, we get a free kick. That's my call to make my coffee. All right, what can we make out of this free kick? So it's like you're going for goal, right? Dominic, I see it in your eyes. Dom, top corner, I'm seeing it. Please? Soboslai! Another save. This time it went towards the middle. What is it that like that's already like 3 or 4 shots on target? It's been like 7 minutes of the second half. And now yellow card, the first one on Liverpool's side for McAllister. Yeah, I mean, you needed to stop Mbappe right there. Let's see this free kick once again. McAllister covering his face. I don't know why McAllister standing still and covering his face when the ball is coming his way is so funny to me. Yeah, the shot went towards the middle, so it was an easy save for Courtois. Do you remember Goldsbridge? Goldsbridge old pronunciation, Sobosley. I never heard Goldbridge say Sobosley. That's hilarious. How do you even say, like, you see the A and the I together and come to the conclusion that that's pronounced Lee? I know that in English it's different, but even in English words and names, A and I together is I. I don't know. I don't even see how Goldbridge would even reach that conclusion. Chat, I come back and we have another free kick. We have another free kick. This is from a very different angle though, but he's still gonna go for goal. Soboslai, no, it's a cross. And a bad one at that. Ooh. Vini, he was definitely onside. Okay. Real Madrid has slowed down, but they're still in possession near our box. That's what I was gonna say. Like, I know losing arguably your best player is a really bad look going into a major tournament, but if Morocco's chances go from 100 to 0 of winning the AFCON just because of the injury of one player, then I don't know how high those chances were to begin with. And I believe that Morocco are incredible in the context of Africa and in the context of world of football even, without Hakimi. Obviously, your chances are greater with Hakimi, but I don't think that Morocco now has no chance to win AFCON without Hakimi. Still, we don't know the extent of his injury yet. I think Modric is more understandable than Soboslai. At least here in Argentina, a lot of people say Modric. I believe that most people say Modric, but a decent amount of people say Modric. By far the best in Africa? Yeah. Yeah, I would say so. Then again, you would say the same for the last AFCON, which they weren't able to win. You would say the same thing for Japan being heads and shoulders above everyone in Asia, and they didn't win the Asian Cup. So yeah, like you were saying, like AFCON is unpredictable. So being the best doesn't really guarantee a thing going into a major tournament, into the World Cup as well. Obviously, your expectations should be higher being the host of the tournament, but like, it's a tough competition to win. Every international competition is tough to win. But yeah, I think that the expectation would be to win it, and anything short of that is a major disappointment. You know, the pronunciation that nobody can wrap their hands around is De Bruyne. Because no matter how many times Kevin goes live to say that his name is De Bruyne, nobody in Argentina is ever gonna call him that. From commentators, I've heard, Carreras, okay, that's gonna be a goal kick. From commentators in Argentina, I've even said people go on the record saying, I know it's supposed to be De Bruyne, but I'm never gonna say De Bruyne, because if I say so, people are gonna mock me online. I've seen commentators go on interviews and saying that. One commentator, Mariano Clos, who I've made a video about partially, but I've heard all kinds of pronunciations. Like Clos says De Bruyne. Then there's someone who says De Bruyne. De Bruyne. Bruyne. Like, that's crazy to me. How do you say De Bruyne? See, I have no idea how to pronounce what you just typed, Seb. I just go off what Kevin has said his name is pronounced, which can be seen online, basically. Okay, Bellingham gets a yellow card now for a foul on Gravenberch. Let's see what we're gonna make out of this free kick now. It's gonna be Szoboszlai again. It seems like a tough angle to go for goal, so I expect a cross. Not saying that going for goal is impossible from this angle, but it looks tough. Right, there's the cross. Great header, and it's in! Come on! McAllister, vamos! There it is! Try to save that, motherfucker. There it is! Boom! Get in. Yeah, try saving that one. Alexis McAllister with the header. My boy, my man, World Cup winner. And we deserve that. We deserve that from the first half. Superb cross from Szoboszlai. Everyone's onside. And the header from McAllister is absolutely unstoppable. You can be Courtois all you want, there's no saving that. I say that it went straight at Courtois, but like the reaction time that you need to make that kind of save is just not real. Vamos! And what a win this would be for the turnaround. It's off. It's onside. Don't even try to check it. It's onside. It's so very clearly onside. Yeah, he extended his arms, but like it's so close that. No, it's barely. very clearly onside. Because you see McAllister's arm stretching out, but the arm doesn't count. The arm doesn't count. It's onside. Yes, come on. Thank you. Cristiano finding love above the World Cup. Well, didn't he say that he's getting married after the World Cup? He's gonna say that the Saudi League is more important than the World Cup until he doesn't win the Saudi League, and then he's gonna be like, nah, the Saudi League is actually not that important. How important is this winning the group stage? So this win is super important because Liverpool, if we want to keep realistic chances of going into the top 8, we have to win this game. If we win this game, we're in a great position to still make it into the top 8 because we lost to Galatasaray away. But if we win this game, most of our hard games are already behind us and we can aim for that top 8 position. Oh, what happened to Wirtz? And then it's about the momentum because Liverpool went into a really bad losing streak. We beat Aston Villa last weekend, and now beating Real Madrid would be such a statement that I feel like it would boost the confidence of the entire squad and push us back into the Premier League race, which I think is the most important. Okay, so Mbappe elbowed Wirtz in the face, but it was completely accidental and it was not violent at all. I don't think that's a card of any sort. Van de Ven, goal for Spurs even with 10 men. Oof, I say clearly onside. It was barely onside. It looked more clear from the live camera. The automatic offside made it look much closer than it actually was. Hello, Mr. Krause. Thank you so much for joining. So far, I feel like Liverpool, I'm not going to say dominating, but we've definitely been the better team. This second half, Real Madrid have had no chances whatsoever. In the first half, they only had one shot from Bellingham down target. That was a good save from Amarashvili. But we were the one creating opportunities the entire time. The ones on the ball, the one pushing forward. No. Slot doesn't compare to Klopp so far. Like, that's an important clarification that Seb is making for now. It's too early, but no, Slot is not even close to Klopp so far. Even if you were like to look at it as, oh, they both have one Premier League title. Yeah, but Klopp got 90 plus points 3 times without winning a Premier League title, which in any other Premier League season would have won the Premier League. So, like, even if he doesn't get the trophy, those seasons still add to Klopp's legacy at Liverpool. For the level of dominance, of consistency. Okay, that's a foul. In my continuation of sharing Argentinian snacks, I have an alfajor Rasta, not sponsored. I don't know why it's that Jamaican. But like, this is gonna look like a mess. But I just want you to appreciate. That's so much chocolate. That is an unhealthy amount of chocolate. If you like, I don't know how Argentinians live, honestly. Like, it's a lot of sugar and a lot of flour everywhere, a lot of carbs. It's a disaster. Look at this. Oh my god, no, it's a disaster. Look at all that dulce de leche that's coming out. I made a mess. I regret my decision. Rodrigo is gonna come on for Real Madrid. The thing is, the last time Rodrigo came on for Real Madrid, it was replacing Vini. And it seems like Xabi Alonso thinks that Rodrigo exclusively is a left winger and doesn't play Rodrigo in other positions. So I wonder if Vini is coming off. He's not. It's gonna be Camavinga for Rodrigo. So now this is a very, very offensive Real Madrid, and I imagine that Bellingham is gonna be dropping to midfield to compensate for this substitution. Wembanyama and Ekitike sure have a lot in common. Now, what is that supposed to mean? Okay, good recovery. Rodrigo down the middle, great interception from Gravenberch. Okay, please, for the love of everything that's good, let Wirtz get a goal contribution this game. This is an amazing win so far. The game's not over yet, obviously. And I would rather take the win than not taking the win. But if we could get another goal, please let it be a Florian Wirtz goal contribution. So that people just shut up already. People won't shut up even if he gets a goal contribution, I know. And I'm not a player apologist, but I give people their time. I'm patient. I'm more patient than your average person on the internet. That doesn't mean I'm an apologist. Like, eventually I'm gonna expect results. Okay. Good block from Robertson. Let's see if we can actually create something in the counter-attack, because right now Real Madrid is dominating. Yeah, Albert, you're the person who won't shut up. Exactly. The thing is, Albert, you're a narrative merchant, and I respect the hell out of that, but the narratives eventually get tiring. Okay, let's try to keep the ball. Nice. Okay, Andy. Andy, no need to make that. Okay. Ekitike on the left. Inside the box, trying to dribble. Pass it backwards. Yeah, they have dubbed the game as Trent's return to Anfield, and he hasn't even featured so far. The camera has panned to him multiple times. He was warming up now. Both sides are looking really weak with how little Robertson and Bradley push forward, and with how poor Salah's and Wirtz's form has been, both sides are looking mighty weak. I would be inclined to say that our left side is weaker than our right. Because Bradley at least tries a bit more than Robertson these days. Good clearance from Van Dijk. Super sub TEA. Route 66. Get your kicks on Route 66. Mbappe with the shot, blocked by Gravenberch. And it seems like once again, like in our first games, we take the lead and we sit back. And we're gonna suffer for the remaining 15 minutes of this game. That shot from Mbappe, I thought it was going in, but it went pretty wide in the end. So the second half, Mats, has gone pretty well until we scored. And then after we scored, we start sitting back, trying to defend the lead, and allowing Real Madrid to grow into the game. And now Mbappe had this really good shot that went just wide. And like I said, we're going to be suffering here for the last 15 minutes, plus whatever stoppage time added there is. And I really don't appreciate it. I don't like to suffer personally. That's just a personal opinion. I believe suffering is bad. Which is longer, 90 minutes at the Bernabeu or 90 minutes at Anfield? "90 minutes in La Bombonera." I mean, Mr. Krabs, the Dutch teams are in a downward spiral that is kind of not a surprise anymore to see PSV losing to everyone. Good interception from Carreras. The only Dutch team that did something spectacular so far was Go Ahead Eagles beating Aston Villa in the Europa League. Swedes and United fans know a lot about suffering. I guess so, yeah. I mean, I'm no stranger to suffering. I'm just not really a fan of it. I mean, I suffered so much, I made a whole ass documentary about how Boca Juniors destroyed my mental health. Not one video, but multiple. And then national team level, before this magical era that we're living, I had to see my team lose 3 consecutive finals. Did PSV beat Napoli? Wait, is that true? I feel like PSV has been losing to everybody. I recall they lost in the first match day to Bruges, didn't they? They thrashed Napoli 6-2. What the fuck? Huh? Wait, what? Not even Bruges. They lost at home to Union Saint-Gilloise 3-1. Then they drew with Bayer Leverkusen 1-0. And then they thrashed Napoli 6-2. What is that run of form by PSV? Okay, I apologize. I really thought that PSV was stinking it up the pitch. Because all I remember was them losing to the Belgian team at home. I mean, fair enough. What can I say? Respect. We see 2 substitutions on the side of Liverpool. Ekitike and McAllister subbed out. And I saw that Cody Gakpo was one of the... Okay, Cody Gakpo and Curtis Jones came onto the pitch. You couldn't go to Utrecht Porto. Unfortunate. Who is Football Carnage? They... Oh, Billy Gilmore, not Scott McSauce. No, because Scott McSauce is Ballon d'Or contender. Ooh! Albert, you might be onto something. I think it's time for Super Sub TAA. TAA. TAA battery. Trent is gonna be given 10 minutes at Anfield to try and change something for Real Madrid. See, corner for Real Madrid. Here comes the cross. Easily cleared away by Szoboszlai, but Real Madrid retain possession. Bad pass from Valverde, and that's gonna be a goal kick for Liverpool. Netherlands NRT isn't great either, has done the bare minimum in recent tournaments, lose to the first top teams they faced in 2024 and 2022. You would say that, yeah. You could definitely say that. I do think that the Dutch national team is highly competitive and has been in the last tournaments. Even at the Euros, I highly doubted them. As we see Trent come onto the pitch, replacing Arda Güler. I believe that some of the misfortunes of the Dutch national team you can count down to luck. I think they were very lucky to even force extra time and a penalty shootout against us in the World Cup. But then in the penalties, they just didn't keep it together. But had they kept it together in the penalties, they would have been in a World Cup semi, and you know, anything could have happened there. At the Euros, very late goal against England. In the Nations League, they took Spain to penalties. Like, you could say that the Netherlands has done the bare minimum and they've lost to the first top team they faced, but in every single one of those games, it was like a a matter of details that saw them eliminated. Serial international bottlers, well, it is a bit of their history. West Ham, Sunderland, and Leeds. So West Ham and Leeds, we should surely win. Sunderland have surprisingly been doing pretty well in the Premier League. Either way, I don't think any of those three wins is an automatic win for Liverpool. Just because of how we've been performing, we've been so inconsistent that I don't think we can say anyone is a free win. I do think that West Ham and Leeds are very, very much games we should win. Sunderland as well. We should beat Sunderland, but I don't think it's going to be as straightforward as that. So, yeah, if we go 9 for 9, suddenly it's back on. PSG's trying to come back. I mean, I would be shocked if they weren't trying to come back, being up a man on Bayern Munich. Yeah, it's 2-1. I think Netherlands could go out in the round of 32 at the World Cup. Well, as a matter of could, yeah, they could. Oh, what a great play from Salah. His shot gets blocked, tries to fight for it. Okay, Courtois grabs the ball. That had actually been a really good play from Salah. He absolutely cooked Carreras. I mean, they could go out in the round of 32. I don't think I expect them to do. I think round of 16 and quarterfinals or even semis is more of their ceiling. Yeah, in the early 70s, like going into the 74 World Cup, I think very few people thought the Netherlands was a top tier nation in football, and they proved everyone wrong. It was sad that they couldn't cap it off with a World Cup win, neither in 74 or 78. Good job from Bradley to keep Vinny at bay. It would be a catastrophe. Like, it already was a catastrophe to not make the 2018 World Cup. It was an even bigger disaster to not make the 2022 World Cup. If Italy meets a third World Cup in a row, I mean, I don't know. Like, at that point, we're speaking, there's a generation that hasn't seen Italy at a World Cup yet, and that would be truly insane. Okay, Salah, let's try to get that second goal, please, so I can live in peace this final few minutes. Salah turning it on. Oh, what a save from Courtois! Come on. No! Are you kidding me? How did that not go in, man? Oh, Salah is doing absolutely everything. Oh, there was a bit of an acrobatic attempt from Gakpo that was saved by Courtois, and then the rebound lands on the feet of Salah. He tries to cut inside, getting himself into a better spot, but that gives the Real Madrid defender time to react and deflect the shot. Yeah, that too, because both in 2010 and 2014 they got grouped. Yeah, you're right, Seb. Which is when they won the bloody thing in 2006. The last World Cup knockout game for Italy is the literal World Cup final in 2006. Oh, Courtois just found that ball. And Militao putting his body on the line to deny Salah the second. Okay, Robertson subbed out. And Beards subbed out as well. Unfortunate that Beards didn't get his goal contribution, but it was a better game. It was a bit quiet, I'll admit. So now Kerkez and Chiesa subbed in for Liverpool. I think we're not trying to park the bus, but it's mostly because Salah is pushing forward. Otherwise, we would be parking the bus like we did right after we scored. What do people from Argentina say when celebrating a try in rugby? I have no idea what people say. I'm sure most people just go bien, which is good. I have no idea what people say when a try is scored in rugby. I can guarantee that nobody screams try like we say goal for football. I can guarantee that nobody goes try. Nobody says that. No, nobody does that. Liverpool arguably should park the bus. I mean, I think that it would be really stupid to allow Real Madrid's wingers any space behind us now that we have the lead. Obviously, I think that it would be best to keep our lines back together. But if we stay that close to Mamardashvili, I mean, we're not going to have a good time these last few minutes. No, but nobody says I'll try when a try is scored. No. Nobody says try when somebody scores a try. On the subject of Real Madrid, for some reason they hate Lautaro Martinez. No, but Real Madrid has a narrative. I mean, not all Real Madrid fans. Like, most Real Madrid fans are also Ronaldo fans, and Ronaldo fans have a narrative not only against Messi, but other Argentinians. That's the whole thing. Also, I think some of it has to do with Lautaro missing that penalty against Atleti, which allowed Atleti to progress in the Champions League. But the main reason for me is that online, you see that most Madrid fans are Ronaldo fans, and Ronaldo fans have narratives against Argentinian players besides Messi. Which is crazy because Argentinians and Messi fans, at least in my eyes, don't have narratives against Portuguese players. Even though most Messi fans online are also disgusting. Okay, corner for Real Madrid. The cross gets cleared away. Mbappe going up against Szoboszlai, and Szoboszlai wins out on the duel. That's going to be a goal kick for Liverpool. 5 minutes of stoppage time were added, and we're already going through the second minute now. Amazing work from Szoboszlai defensively there. And again, how massive this win would be, not only for the Champions League standings, but for the morale of the team. Okay, don't get caught in transition. Header from Van Dijk. Nice. Fight for the ball. Fight for it. Okay, that's a foul. That's fine. I mean, Mats, look at the bench. Mastantuono. But between Higuaín and Mastantuono, Well, Nico Paz came from the academy and then decided to join the Argentinian national team. But even before that, like between Higuain and like the present day, I genuinely don't remember. I know it's been a while since Real Madrid has had an Argentinian. Park the Sandstorm. What does Park the Sandstorm even mean? What is that reference? Park the Raikou? Yeah, Di Maria. But Di Maria was playing alongside Higuain. I guess Di Maria stayed at Real Madrid longer than Higuain. So yeah, that makes sense. Di Maria counts. Okay, let's see if we can keep the ball away from our own box. Okay, the ball for Chiesa is not really great, but we clear the danger away. Come on, one more minute. Yeah, Di Stefano, but like that's ages ago. The biggest Real Madrid legend. That's a horrible cross from Mbappe. Holy shit. Alright. Throwing for Liverpool. Crowd the box with Sandstorm. Ah. Alright, please let's not lose the ball on this throwing. Nice. Salah, Chiesa, is that a foul? Let's go. Yellow card for Carreras as well. It helps that you have a team of 2 Sandstorm users. What is that even supposed to mean? Alonso not happy with that decision, but that was most definitely a foul from Carreras. Ref, it's full time. Check your clock. Check your watch, please. Okay, after you're done speaking and giving a yellow card to Xavi Alonso, can you please blow the whistle, ref? Please. Pretty please. Look at your clock. Look at your watch. We're done here. Hausen clears it away. And Liverpool has beaten Real Madrid at Anfield once again. 2 times in a row now. That lone goal by Alexis McAllister, the World Cup winner, with an outstanding header, was enough to beat Real Madrid once again. As Salah is probably telling Courtois, man, stop being so good, please. You're gonna give us a heart attack. Amazing win for Liverpool. Both to put us back into the top 8 of the Champions League at the halfway point of the league phase, and to revitalize the morale of the team after the heavy lose streak that we went through. What a win. What a performance as well. I think that we deserve that 100% with the amount of chances that we created and with how poor Real Madrid were in the attack as well. I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that we deserve to win that game. Very, very happy. Very, very happy with that performance, with that win. Amazing. Incredible. Once again, victorious against Real Madrid at Anfield. Great stuff. Great stuff. And like, if you look at the table now, if you look at the table, Liverpool is simply behind Real Madrid on goal difference. But we jump into the top 8, currently sitting in 6th. The only two teams that remain perfect are Bayern Munich and Arsenal so far. Bayern Munich still getting the job done against PSG so far. They are in the second minutes of stoppage time there, but so far Bayern Munich is still winning. And yeah, Arsenal also went 4-4. We're still yet to see if Inter can do something, because Inter play tomorrow at home against Kairat. So Inter should win that and also be on 4 wins. But either way, Liverpool are most likely gonna finish this window in the top 8, which is fantastic. And then we have to look at our remaining fixtures in the Champions League phase, which is gonna be at home against PSV. Away to Inter is gonna be really tough. Away to Inter is probably the toughest game we have yet to play in the Champions League. And then we have away game to Olympique Marseille, and we close against Karabakh at home. Obviously, Liverpool's next game this weekend away at the Etihad against Manchester City. A key match. If we want to fight for the Premier League, we have to get some sort of result there. But yeah, it's looking spicy both in the Champions League and in the Premier League. The fact that Liverpool are still third while losing 4 games in a row is crazy to me, but it just makes me feel even more sad that we lost this much ground with the lead that we had at the start. But I hope that this win against Real Madrid can be the start of a new era, and that we can make that turnaround to actually push for the Premier League once again. Yeah, Atletico about to win. Sporting against Juventus 1-1. Yeah, back-to-back wins against Real Madrid at Anfield. Alonso seems average for Real Madrid. Well, I mean, if you saw El Clásico, I think Alonso has been doing well. But, you know, I think time will tell whether Alonso was the man for Real Madrid or not. Thank you, Vladislav, for stopping by, and thank you to everyone who's watched the stream. Thank you to Mr. Kraft, thank you to Seb, thank you to Odmane, thank you to Mats. Everyone, thank you so much for watching. It's been a pleasure. Remember to be back here on Sunday. I don't know if I'll make... It's possible that I'm here on Saturday for... I mean, I don't know if I'm gonna be here on Saturday, because I believe the Man City Liverpool game clashes with the Pokemon stream, so I don't know if I'm gonna do something about that, or if I'm just not gonna do a watch along for that one. But for sure, what I'm doing is a watch along on Sunday for Boca Juniors against River Plate, Super Clásico of Argentinian football. Remember to be there, remember to subscribe, remember to hit the like button. Hello Regista, thank you so much for stopping by as we're about to wrap up the stream. Thank you so much. Remember to be here on Sunday for Boca Juniors against River Plate. It's been an amazing watch along, it's been an amazing game. Happy with the performance, happy with the result, and we move on. I hope that Liverpool can start winning once again in the Premier League, and that we can contest both for that title and for the Champions League. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll be seeing you all